Alright, and welcome everyone to LemonLad's first Q&A video, the 2K sub special. Appreciate you guys. Let's get into it. Some basics here. What was your first MK game and what made you fall in love with it? And what's your favourite MK game? These are good questions. First MK game, MK1. PlayStation 1. I remember it. Funny story about this. So I thought it was really good. I mean, I first played it when I was like 5, right? And I used to hate how hard it was to beat like Kentaro, Goro, Shang Tsung, Xiao, everyone. And my strategy, when I first fell in love with Mortal Kombat, I accidentally threw an ice ball. And froze someone, and then I realized the power of the godly down 2. I then proceeded for the next like 10 years of my life to ice ball and down 2 my way through every Mortal Kombat game. Often getting smacked down by a boss. Also look at that execution on that 200 ping moment. Like a boss, right? So MK1, first game. I just fell in love, like the power of ice. I've been in love with ice since. So like any ice-based magic or anything like that, just it's awesome. It's awesome. And just that moment of something so cool. Like when I accidentally did my first fatality as well. Awesome. My favorite MK game? MK11. For sure. As far as Mortal Kombat titles go, it's my favorite one. I just love it. Honestly. I just love it. Alright. Next up we got one from Spooder, OCE legend himself. Aside from Robocop, who are your top 3 favourite MK characters? So, I gotta start with Sub-Zero, right? Just going off that last story, this is the only game that I haven't played him in as my main. Even in Injustice 2 is my main. Definitely a loyalist. Got the brutal. Definitely a loyalist for Sub. Very sad when I played him in this and he didn't feel fun to me. That's number 1. Number 2, Johnny Cage. For sure, Johnny Cage. Not only is he hilarious, and I love his caricature of action stars. As someone who likes to make fun of them myself, I really appreciate that. But his gameplay as well. I love block pressure, and he's in every game, he's great at it. MK9 is a god. MKX, stunt doubles is my favorite thing. MK11, he's really good too. He's got a lot of plus range, got a lot of gimmicks. It's just really fun. I just really love everything about him as well. Number 3, it's a toss-up between Human Smoke and Quan Chi. But I think I'm going to say Quan Chi, because he's just sick. Like, MKX, he's an absolute god. MK9, he is too. Well, he's pretty shit in MK9, but he's just really good. I think he's really cool. I love him as a villain. I just think his design's awesome as well. Big fan of Quan Chi. So those are my top 3 there, and that's in order as well. That's in order. Next one here, we've got 1,000 LemonLads. First one, Robocop from Murray. Who would win? If I'm playing Robocop, and there's 1,000 of me against someone else playing one Robocop, I'd say me. If you're talking about the actual character, I haven't seen the movies in a long time. Personally, not even that much of a fan of the movies, which is kind of ironic. But I'd have to say 1,000 of me. Just distraction value, really. It'd just be a war of attrition. He can't fuck me up 1,000 times. I think he'd get pretty close, but I think I'd take that one. Alright, next here we've got one from Zhong. Who or what do you want as the main villain of MK12? Could be a villain from the past or someone entirely new. Zhong? I spoke a bit before about Quan Chi. This one comes down to, I want the Deadly Alliance from the 3D era to come back. Shang and Quan, I want like a tandem of sorcerers, because that's the best way for them to introduce tag in MK12, The end boss is... Well, one of the bosses in the game is Shang Tsung and Quan Chi. I think it would be sick. I think it's the perfect opportunity. So that's who my villain would be. Alright, next one here. We got top 5 games / franchises. I like this question. So, my favourite game for the past over 10 years now has been Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Still. It hits different to Skyrim. I wish they'd remaster it. Instead, they remastered Skyrim on Oblivion's 10th anniversary. Makes me sad. Second one, The Outer Wilds. If you guys don't know what that is, I don't want to tell you too much about it, because its joy is best spent discovering for yourself. I will say it's a game where you explore space. That's all I'll say about it. It's really, really good, really affordable, made by this really talented indie team. Honestly, check it out. It's very, very, very good. Best game I've played in the last 10 years. Number 3, Resident Evil 4. And the Resident Evil series as a whole, but 4 specifically, well, maybe not 6, but 4 specifically, such a good game. I remember playing it when I was 10 years old and being shit scared but loving every second of it. And I replayed it last year, it's still the same. It's so fun, honestly. And I love those survival type third person shooters, so it's just really good. Number 4, the MK franchise, of course. It has to be in here. So influential, you know, to my life for ages. I just love it, you know. I love the Injustice series as well, but Mortal Kombat's been around with me longer, and even though Injustice 2 and Injustice 1 are good, but just the MK franchise here. And finally, 5th favourite, it's the Splinter Cell franchise. Splinter Cell Conviction specifically being my favourite one of those. That game absolutely crushed it. Alright, next one here from Ald, asking the really important questions. Is Robocop waterproof, and if so, how long is his warranty? Look, the way that I see it is, he's waterproof, but he can't swim. So it's kind of like Garrus in the Sea of Blood during the MK11 storyline. I can't be thrown, by the way, look at that. It's like that, you know, he'll just sink to the bottom. He'll sink to long enough that his warranty then expires, and then, you know, he can't refund it. But I think he could last down there for a while. So, I think he's waterproof. Alright, so next one here from Special. What made you want to pick up Robocop? This is a good one. Only 2 people asked me this, so fair enough. It's a combination of a couple things. Firstly, especially in MK11, I like playing zoning characters, right? Like I like playing Katana with the tornado that travels across the screen and everything like that before Robocop came out. That's a big thing there, but I've usually gravitated towards lower tier characters just because they have a lot of janky stuff that's kind of bad but works. Like, they have room for their own gimmicks and their own little mind games, and I really like that, so I have fun with that stuff. And Robocop definitely fits all of that. And then on top of that, when customs came out, you can use the command grab as an actual variation, which I really appreciate. I love playing grappler characters, so having that spice in there is really nice. So essentially that's everything I like, and he's also pretty difficult to play with, and I do like having difficult characters, so that's why Robocop. Honestly, any reason to like any character, that's what he is for me. This next one, I really like this one from Ferret. Favorite and least favorite mechanics from every fighting game you've played. I'm not going to do every single one, but what I will do is I'll do MKX, Injustice 2, and MK11 since they're the most recent. MKX, I'm going to get a lot of people are going to be shooketh from this, but I hate the run button. I just think it deletes neutral from the game. You can still get sick conversions without it, you know, dash cancels and stuff for MK9 for example. I just really don't like the run button. It just kind of kills the neutral, and it makes every character the same. You know, every character's a rushdown character that has something else as well. Rushdown and mix, so I don't like the run button. My favourite mechanic from MKX though is how many combo routes there are, how you can convert off a lot of different stuff. And just, the characters just felt like they had a lot more in their variations. I still like MK11 more, but that's my favourite thing about MKX. Injustice 2, my least favourite thing is the armoured forward and back 3. As someone, you have to use them, so of course I use them, but I feel like that game, and Injustice 2 is my favourite game that NRS has made, by the way, just to let you guys know. I feel like that game's so close to really nailing it, but the armour on those specifically, I don't mind character-based armour like Bane, but the armour on those specifically, it's really nice for reading wake-ups. When people, wake up with it, I'm just not that big of a fan. But even then, I don't even dislike it that much. I just had to pick something. My favourite thing about Injustice 2 is push block. Spend a barometer and fuck someone off. Really good against rushdown characters. Imagine if you could do that to Jackie when she's in your face. Imagine if you could do that to Liu Kang. I'd spend 2 bars a meter in this game for that. So that's the Injustice 2, favourite and least favourite. Love push block. Mortal Kombat 11. My least favourite thing, you guys probably know this, fatal fucking blows. Stupid. Honestly, they're stupid. I like that, it's cool that you get them under 30% and you're more likely to use them in X-rays. I get the whole point of it. I don't like how someone can miss it 5 times and hit you with it the 6th. I don't like how it has armor and it's quote-unquote first 8 frames, but the amount of times you meaty someone online and they armor through it is disgusting. I really think fatal blows, they should be used mainly for hit confirms, or you should at least have to have all 4 bars available to be used. You don't need to use the bars at all, but it's just, you can do it whenever with essentially no penalty. Liu Kang can just do it in his block strings and you can't even really punish it with most characters, so that's my least favourite thing. My favourite thing about MK11, once again, might be a little controversial, flawless blocking. I love it. You'll see me try to do this in here, but this is 230 ping, so I'm not really going to get it. but I absolutely love flawless blocking in this game. I think it's the perfect way to beat armor. I think it's the perfect way to replace armor, make it a bit more skillful, and just gives you a bit more play in the neutral. It can use a few more tweaks, like doing it on hit is a bit like in sub jails. Sometimes you can still just do it. I think that's a bit silly, but all in all, I really like it. I think it was a really good idea. I think making it really puts a bit more of a skill cap into the game as well. This next one by Pugsley. I love the name, by the way. What is your philosophy on a good game, as into what makes a game good? I really find this question interesting, and I feel like it's different between whether it's a PvP game or a PvE game, so I'll quickly go through a bit of both. For a PvP game, I think a few things first come to mind. Obviously, it needs to be balanced, right? It's pretty important. But you also need diversity in the gameplay, you need options. You need options so the players can feel like they can express themselves a little bit with their character choice. That's really important. So you need different play styles. You also need, and I will call this room to meme. The game can't take itself too seriously. Obviously, there's going to be a competitive side, which you need. But if people want to do dumb shit, let them. And let the dumb shit be somewhat competitive. Obviously, it's not going to be as good as the just straight up good stuff, you know? But let the dumb shit be somewhat good. That's an important thing. Another thing is to have a solid skill curve. So, like, there's nothing more boring than a fundamentally good game, but all the characters do the same things. You know, and there's no off-meta character that you can actually try to play because they're just so lacking. No one wants to play a game where there's 30 characters in the roster, but 5 characters get played. No one wants that. And then for a PvE game, make it hard. Like, not that hard, but make it challenging, I should say. And have the reward be worth the challenge. That's a big thing. You know, personally, I prefer as little hand-holding as possible. Like, I'll take a little tutorial, but I don't want to spend the first 2 hours having to go through a tutorial when I understand it. I'm going to suck at first, and that's fine. You know, I am going to suck, and that's okay. Just let each time I level up as a player, like, personally feel rewarding. You know, like, I want to feel like I achieved something. That's kind of what it is when you're grinding in fighting games, for example. You know, you learn how to flawless block. That's a big thing. You feel awesome when you can do that. You start hitting, you know, your first massive combos, you start hit confirming better, all that stuff. It's really important. And I think those moments is what keeps you around. That's a big thing about fighting games, the whole, what a swag combo, by the way. Another thing for PvE is try new things. Like, this goes for PvE and PvP, but break the mold, take some chances. Like, I want to see the game that you want to make. I don't want to see the game that you think I want to play. You know? I don't want to see the game that you think's going to sell. I want to see the game that you're going to be proud of at the end of the day. Because I'm going to feel that passion when I'm playing. And I think that's really cool. Alright, next one here. Who's in the MK/Smite crossover that will never happen because they already burned that bridge? That is true. Developers of Smite pretty much just put Scorpion into the game, and Warner Brothers did not like it. So besides that one, and there's also kind of a Sub-Zero one in there. I've got a couple ideas. I'm not going to go through the effort to put them up on the screen, so if you guys are curious about what these characters look like, just give it a look. Smite's a very fun game. So first one is Raiden and Raijin. Raiden's a Thunder God in Mortal Kombat. Raijin's a Thunder God in Smite. Easy pick. It'd be pretty damn cool. Second one is Boraicho as Barkus. Barkus is just a big thick boy who drinks beer and burps, but Boraicho Barkus would fart instead. They're both alcoholics, so it works. The third one, Garrus as Set. So this is less of a looks-wise and more of a kit-wise. Garrus uses sand and manipulates time and everything, has sand clones. So does Set. Set has their sand clones, just beats the shit out of people, causes a sandstorm, fucks off. Very similar to how Garrus makes his appearances in the story. So, those will be my characters. Let's just enjoy this brutal. Alright, so this one, a couple from us. This is a long one. This is a very interesting one. Is the fighting game community a good and positive thing to be a part of? Yes or no? What do you think contributes the most to this compared to other communities like MOBAs, for example? I really like this question, and I personally think it is a good thing to be a part of, you know? It's a lot of fun. As with everything, there's a few different things to consider, of course. Like, I'm definitely not a super active person in the wider community. You know, just now getting more and more involved in the OCE community and hosting stuff and playing and doing whatever. But there are such kind people I've already met, you know, just like getting together, playing some games, being idiots, trying to get better together as well. And you know, there's a dumb tournament on the weekend. It's cut versus uncut, but we're doing it to raise money for charity. So you know, the fund's being donated in Movember. So it's just a bunch of dumb people who like spending time together and doing dumb shit. I really like that. I think that's really nice. Like, I wouldn't be making this video right now without people like this, you know, people who care. And that's the community I'm trying to build, especially on this channel, you know. And it's not going to be too hard because it's such a big part of the Mortal Kombat community as a whole and the FGC community. And that's my experience, you know, playing these games at a relatively high level for the past 3 to 4 years. Everyone's always willing to help out. You know, it's obviously there's the... obviously, unfortunately, there are always negative sides as well, of course. You know, some people take stuff way too seriously and personally, which is, I think, more common for the FGC than other genres as well. Because you're just versing one person, you know? It's you versus them. So there's a lot of room for ego to get involved as well. Like in a MOBA, for example, you have a team. Not only are you responsible as a group, and you know, you need teamwork, but you can also take the easy way out and blame them if you lose. Like, oh man, if you ganked at this time, you know, that's all on you. Which is a different sort of toxicity, I think. Because you can just blame everyone else and not take responsibility. But in, you know, these fighting games, it's all on you. You know, you get the highs of the wins knowing that you did it yourself, and you also get the losses. The sad reality is, in any competitive genre, people act how they wouldn't in a physical medium. Like, people wouldn't say the type of stuff that I've seen people say, and I've heard people say to me, you know. And I don't like I'm a burly 7-foot guy, but they still wouldn't. Like, that's just not how it goes. And I do understand, you know, sometimes it is nice people, and it leads to outbursts and frustration because they're passionate about it. And I understand that, you know. Like, there's a difference between being, like, a bit mad, but then being horrible, or rude, or toxic. So I totally understand that. And I do like seeing the passion behind it. But there is, especially, you know, this is more going to, like, the worldwide FGC community as well. There are people who they just do it to be rude or abuse people, bully each other, insult each other, and I love banter and smack talk, right? It's such a big part of these games. You know, you tell someone you're going to do something, they say, yeah, right, you smack them up, and they're like, alright, fair enough, you got me. You know, like, I love being an idiot like that. I literally call myself shit every video, right? But sadly, there's people who are clearly doing it to hurt people. You know, I've heard such, you know, sexist, transphobic, racist, homophobic, like all these other groups, you know, all these slurs and insults used simply because it's as simple as someone losing, or it's as simple as someone not liking the playstyle someone had who spent just as much money as they did on a game. Like, people feeling so entitled to someone else to have to do exactly what they want to do, that they're going to abuse them for things out of their control, especially. Like, it's horrible, and it's unacceptable in any capacity, you know. And thankfully, this is such a small amount of the population playing these games, from what I've noticed, you know. But if I didn't mention it, I feel like I'd be, you know, painting this picture that it's, you know, this perfect thing. It's definitely not perfect. When so many different people from different backgrounds come together, it never is, right? But the vast majority of people are so kind, you know, they're so supportive. They're doing it because they enjoy it, you know, it's fun. I think it's great. And this is in every genre as well, obviously, but as I said before, people can take it super personally because it's one-on-one, you know. And I believe such a big reason for this is its overall maturity levels. And when I say maturity, I'm not saying, you know, a vast majority of the player base is less than 18 years old. Like, that's not what I mean. What I mean is, you don't really ever get taught how to lose. You know? You don't really ever get taught how to lose and how to deal with it. And when you're playing these games that you have nothing else to blame but yourself at the end of the day, it's gonna take a while to learn how to do so. And here's a free tip. The fastest, you'll start getting better so much faster if you see losing as a learning experience and not a reason why you're bad. Everyone loses. Always. Like, that's how you get better. Like, it really is. So you have to make that choice yourself. You know, do you take responsibility, go into practice mode, go into the lab, figure out exactly what you lost to and find a way to deal with it? Or do you sit back and either blame the character, the player, who you hate them for X reason, or do you blame the lag that was responsible for one of your 10 mistakes, you know? And you feel like sometimes I feel like I'm still learning this, you know? I feel like people often decide to blame that one mistake instead of the other 9 they made. And that's just because they don't know how to lose. And they think it's such a bad thing. Like, if they lose, people as if no one else has ever lost. Like, I don't quite get the mindset. But like, that's such an opportunity for positive growth, especially in these games. Like, you can grow as a human being in a way, just from video games in general as well, like accepting how to lose, the people you meet, getting exposure to different groups that you might not ever speak to. So yeah, all in all, it's like I think it's you know, a great community to be a part of, but I think it's the same as everyone, where there's going to be people who make it toxic and not fun. But I think, and this is what I like to do, you know, I like to focus on the good parts of it, because they overwhelm the bad parts, for sure. You know, they always will in anything. You know, you can always find reasons to, you know, see the bad, but you can choose to see the good sometimes, you know? Those are my thoughts anyway. Let me know yours in the comments, because I know that a lot of people have a lot of different opinions and thoughts about the FGC, especially. So if you want to leave some stuff in there, do it. I just know that, especially on my channel, you know, we're going to be pushing the positive side of it. You know, like, we're going to be trying to raise money for charity when we can. We're going to be, you know, just being idiots together, memeing around, having a good time. Because, you know, that's what such a big part of it is. And just at the end here, I'm just going to plug someone asked where they could find me as one of these questions. Instead of popping it up here, I thought I'd just go through it. So I'm just going to put up a graphic. I say a graphic, it's just going to be some text of some socials. You guys should have most of them already, but feel free to follow me on these or subscribe, do whatever. And if anyone's gotten this far, I really appreciate your time. You've got to know a little bit more about LemonLad today. If you have any more questions, feel free to DM me. I can make a second one if I get a lot, or we can just have a quick chat. Besides that, though, I think that's me for today. If you've gotten this far, leave some lemons in the comments. I'd love to know. I'd love to know who. How many people actually did this. This is gonna be like a 23-minute video, so this is longer than I thought it would be. So I appreciate your time, guys, as always. Hopefully, I will be streaming soon. If not, I love you all, and you'll see me soon anyway. I've got some stuff coming up. Alright, thanks for the 2K subs, guys. I appreciate you all.